Just keep trying things. Don't be afraid. Be confident in yourself to try new things and put work out there.
Hi, Amy. I'm going to start with a very simple question for you.
All right.
But first, I want to welcome you to Don't Quote Me. You're our third guest on season 2. So we're very excited about this.
Excited about this.
Can you just tell the people who you are and what you are currently up to these days?
Yeah, so I'm Amy Day, and I have dabbled in a variety of things, but my biggest project and career right now are being the Creative Director of ArtPrize. So this is my 9th season, and tonight is awards night where we give away almost $400,000.
Big deal.
Yeah. I started in screen printing at a little shop in Holland with Adam Weiler. It was called Ambrose, and then I used to be a wilderness guide for high school students and would take them out and do therapy with them. But then I've always enjoyed design and creativity, and so.
Yeah, you also had a stint with Midwest House too, which is also a
Midwest
homies.
House, did 5 seasons with them in Austin, Texas. So yeah, I guess I'm in the events world.
Yeah.
So I like doing crazy things up until a deadline.
Yeah, I mean, as the creative director of ArtPrize, especially when it comes to like this medium and the events, like, can you help us understand the scale of what you have to actually create for things like this? Because I don't think people really understand, like, when they see the signage, when they see the different artists, like how much stuff actually has to be made. Could you help us understand that a little bit?
Yeah, at an event this scale, there are a lot of different touch points and pieces that you might not even think about. So I do everything from billboards that you'll see coming from Detroit into Grand Rapids, signage at the airport when people fly in from the airport, street banners around town. There's info kiosks in all of our different districts. So those are like 9-foot tall, what we call monoliths, with all of our information on those. The event guides that people get to pick up, all the artist labels around town, the badges people wear, making templates for our social media graphics, and the step and repeats people have to be behind when doing interviews and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of different, and then I was up last night really late making all the slides for the awards. This year was able to work on a little retrospective documentary because it's our 15 year. So was also working on a creative documentary. So
you're kind of touching a lot.
Yeah, a lot of different things that juggling. Oh, and all the merch. There's a merch line this year of about 30 some items. So got to work on that as well.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, also it's a lot of different things. So you literally made all those little pieces, and then it gets translated into, it sounds like, over 20 different mediums.
Yes.
I'm really curious, when you are setting out the vision for that, are you meeting with stakeholders? Are you meeting with the executive directors? Are you meeting with the community? How do you decide, like, hey, this year, this is our look, feel, and graphic direction for an event that thousands of people are coming to?
Yes. Great question. So I started about 9 seasons. And when I started, I was more of a design lead, worked at Conduit Studio with John O'Neill and Jessica Mead and Ryan and a bunch of wonderful creatives that I was inspired by. And so there was about 6 of us making those decisions. There was a creative director at ArtPrize at the time that we'd work with, and those were kind of the people making the decisions. Once COVID hit, everything kind of got dismantled. The whole ArtPrize team actually had to go find new jobs kind of outside of events because we didn't know if events were going to be happening. And I had always been a contractor, and so I just did some other work. Then when they wanted to bring ArtPrize back, they reached out to me and said, hey, we need a creative director. But at the time, they didn't really have a budget to hire all the other 5 people that were needed.
Right.
So now it's kind of just myself and I doing the project management and the creative and making design assets. And then I do have interns from Kendall that work with us every season, which has been really fun because there's some great talent that comes out of the graphic design program at Kendall.
Which we're sitting at.
Yes, that's where we are. So that's super helpful because they bring some new ideas, but then are using the brand that I created. And I do work with contractors that I do get to hire to help with that. So like Jessica Mead, for example, helped me create a lot of the branding. We both got to brainstorm because as a creative, you want people to brainstorm with and give feedback of, is this working? Do you think this would work on all the different mediums and variables we need to use it for around the city? And so it's been fun.
That's really cool. I mean, when it comes to these kinds of projects, I'm always inspired by how the city reacts to the art. Obviously, there's always so many opinions about it. Every single year, they're like, I don't know if I like this direction, or I really love this direction. But the cool thing is, for me, I get to witness just the evolution over, I mean, like you said, it's been 15 years. And I remember the very first one, we were just talking about it before we hit record. Like, I was a server at Bar Devani back then, and we run out of food, and there was like, the city did not know how to handle how many people showed up. And the reality is, it's kind of always been that way, regardless. Every year, we've gotten better at it.
But they ran out of toilet paper before that was a thing during COVID.
Exactly. So it's very cool, and I just wanted to say, like, good work. I don't know if anyone, you're probably hearing that plenty, but you should hear it directly from somebody that's been part of the city for a long time. Great work.
And I think doing something that's so unique and so interesting, and you're getting 1,000 some artists, you're working with so many venues, there's gonna be controversy, there's gonna be criticism, there's also gonna be joy, and people cry and say how much it's changed their lives, and so it's this big jumble of emotions that is kind of fun to work in and see all of the different aspects of what a large scale city event brings.
Absolutely. Okay, so can you tell us a moment that made it clear that creativity was kind of your calling in your life?
Oh, I have creative people in my family. My uncle is a fine artist in Colorado, just moved to Mexico actually, so he does a lot of different fine art. My mom's been a creative person, more in like dance and different things, and I think I've just always been drawn to the creative process. I'm so curious. I want to learn new things all the time. And I think my background is actually psychology, so maybe it started with the curiosity of the human being and then turned into working with different mediums, working with different subjects, creating different palettes. And
what was your first medium that you decided, like, what was your first exploration into, like, was it graphic design?
I guess it would have been screen printing.
Okay.
So when I first moved back to Holland and did Ambrose, that was like working with my hands again, and I thought that was just really fun, and all the different substrates you could use and different things you could do with screen printing and working with people to create different designs. And you're creating like posters for bands and t-shirts for different sports teams, so that was the first medium, and then I kind of kept exploring that more. And one of the really cool things that I think got me into design and creative direction was we did this series where we brought in artists every month. And Ambrose was an after-school art program, so we would bring the kids around to learn all the different trades people would do, and like, this is what's available in the world. And we'd tour textile plants, and we'd work with videographers and website designers and screen printers and all sorts of muralists, all sorts of different creative people. And I think through that gained a larger network of creatives that I'm like, this is really fun. I like
so
what
cool.
these people are doing.
I love that the connection of Ambrose, because like I loved Ambrose. I mean, I remember when it was just up off of Michigan over there, like one of their first outposts, and then they partnered with Wimcat, and then like Wimcat kind of like took that whole thing over. When was your journey kind of like over with that? I was super curious, because I've also, again, I've known Adam forever, so I've got to witness his own journey with that, and he's been on the show too. I was just curious for you, like when was the Ambrose thing kind of winding down? Because I know it was for a while one of the main screen printers here in town, especially when it came to serving students and helping them get into the space.
Yeah, and I felt like we also were bringing different elevated experiences with screen printing, like
100%.
Working with different UV or trying different things. So we would work with Conduit Studio and just work with the creatives to try new things, which was really fun. But I only worked with Ambrose in Holland because that's where I originally was living shortly after college. And so we did that for maybe 7 years. there, and then I took a gig in New Zealand. They had a job posting one day. I just was kind of perusing the interwebs for things, and I saw that there was a senior designer going on maternity leave that worked for an editorial magazine in New Zealand. And I thought, I'm going to try for this. And so I got the gig, and I lived over there for about 9 months, working on a health magazine, and got to work with like New Zealand Olympic athletes because they were the ambassadors of the health products.
Wow.
And then after that is when I came back here, applied for the ArtPrize job. And then from there, it's been doing ArtPrize, Midwest House, side projects. Did something with the library a couple years ago.
So cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. How do you see your role shaping the way people see Grand Rapids and the art community in general?
Yeah, I mean, my role specifically is just trying to elevate the brand experience of ArtPrize and have consistency for wayfinding people get around town. But as far as the event itself, I just think right now, especially in kind of a divided time we live in, that art for me and for a lot of other friends that I know helps bring people together. It's a common denominator. We all hopefully are creative in some way and can talk about this sculpture or this interesting time-based piece together. And I think it's a very unifying thing and gets people out of their houses, off their screens, and talking with one another. And so I really hope that that's what people get out of it. And I've been seeing it more lately, which is really nice. Is just people just want to be in community again and talk about things with one another.
I really love that answer. I mean, the reality is when it comes to any art in general, I believe, I'm one of those people that believe like art's purpose is to help someone else experience the feelings that you experience when you're making that piece of art. And I can sense, even with the way that the city has responded this year to art, like it's very clear that your role does influences people's tangible experience, because like this is a physical act. It's an event. It's not something where you're just scrolling like, oh, that was nice, and you move on in 0.3 seconds. You actually have to get out and move.
Engage with it. I mean, you don't have to engage with it, but that's kind of the premise of it, is this big public vote. So if you engage with it, you might be changing someone's life with $100,000, and it's a
that can make or break someone's entire career.
Exactly.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, in your eyes, what makes an art piece powerful? And we are looking for your actual opinion.
Oh, what makes an art piece powerful? I think if it evokes emotion and you are able to kind of come outside of yourself and really sit with that piece and understand what the artist was feeling and thinking in their story, getting into the piece and its story, I think makes it really powerful. And that if you can elicit some sort of emotion through that.
What a great answer. I love that so much. Okay, what advice would you give to, say, like a young creative, especially in this town, when they're trying to pursue art or a career similar to your own?
Just keep trying things. Don't be afraid. Be confident in yourself to try new things and put work out there. I think that was something that I would always get a little nervous of. How are people going to respond to this? Is anyone going to like it? But the more you just keep putting stuff out there, I think the more that you find your style and kind of your identity, and ask others for feedback. What I really love about my intern this year is she's not afraid to just come up to me and say, tell me one thing that I could do better about this poster I made, and she really wants that critical feedback. And I'm like, yes, that's great. And then I really will dive into it and think, how could this maybe become better, whether it's the kerning or, the layout and the alignment of it. And so, not being afraid to, one, be yourself, just keep trying new things, and then also finding some mentors and asking for feedback.
I think that's really good advice. I think also, in my experience, I have a younger brother who's actually, I think in his junior or senior year currently at Michigan for art. He just did a 6-week study abroad in graphic design. And the thing that I'm witnessing with him is like he wants his art to have a really meaningful impact on the world, and wants the art to help shape and mold culture. And I love that that's what his desire is, but like how would you give him advice if he was trying to change perspectives and or the world through art?
Yeah, I feel like I can notice a difference between those artists that are just authentically themselves and have a story to tell versus the ones that are trying to be like, I have a story to tell and force something that maybe isn't theirs because they want to be the next Banksy or, you know, the next Picasso or something, and they're forcing something that isn't true to them. And so I think having authenticity, which is probably an overused word in this world today, but really I think you see that in art. If someone's unique, showcasing where their true talent lies and putting it out there. And I do think you need some talent there too.
Of course.
There's a little bit of that. Yeah.
So if I were to summarize, I think really if you want to be effective in changing perceptions and or narratives, you actually have to tell the truth first about yourself before the work can actually show up in that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. I've got some these are very much like rapid fire questions for you. One artist that changed your life.
Ooh. There's so many good artists out there. Huh. That's a tough one. I mean,
you can list a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I do get inspired by Keith Haring's work just because I like his graphic, poppy, bold in your face, and it does have an amazing storyline through there if you know more about his story and kind of how he became an artist and the injustices he stood up for. But then I'm going to go on a personal level. I think my uncle, who I had mentioned earlier, who's a fine artist, I think constantly inspired me to keep trying new things, and he was always trying new mediums and doing different things and giving me feedback. And I went on a plein air painting trip with him once to Mackinac Island and just got more interested in trying different things. And I think he was
what's your uncle's name?
Mark Day.
Mark Day.
Yeah.
All right, I now have to look up Mark Day because I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think he's out there. He should be out there.
Is it? Can we find him on the internet,
Mark
or is he
Day
one of those?
Artist.
Or is he like one of those like artists that's like kind of reclusive and lets other people handle that stuff?
Well, he moved to Mexico, and he used to have a website, and I think it's still out there.
Okay.
Mark Day Artist.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, your favorite medium currently?
That is. Currently, I have just been on my computer 12 hours a day for the last month, churning out graphics for this event and everything else. So I am excited to get off my computer, and I got myself a really nice sewing machine a couple of years ago, thinking I would get into some sort of textiles. I have a collection of a ton of fabrics. Actually, Project One, we had this huge fabric artist come in and do these installations over a bunch of buildings around town.
Yeah, I remember.
And I collected fabrics from that because we were getting donations from all over the city, and I thought, I kind of want to get into creating some interesting textile pieces, working with my hands more. But ask me hopefully in a few months to see if I've gotten there.
If you've actually started doing the textile. Speaking of textiles, I got to give a shout out to Shannon Mack, who was over at the new spot over off of Diamond. I can't remember
Hermitage?
But the Hermitage,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
She has a piece. It's photos off her phone, but it's in a large like textile quilts-ish thing.
It's a beautiful
It's
piece.
very beautiful.
Yeah.
That when you said textiles, that jumped into my brain immediately.
There's so many different things you can do.
It's so true.
It's great.
Okay, favorite restaurant in town for you in Grand Rapids?
Favorite restaurant? I will always be a fan of Cafe Mamo. I think they create
Big shout out. Yep.
great elevated experiences. They have a seasonal menu that's always changing. And I will say Gingin's has a very good steak.
I haven't been to Gingin's yet.
So there's usually a wait.
Okay.
But they do a good job as well. I wish we had more elevated restaurants around Grand Rapids, but Cafe Mama, Linear is another good one I love for brunch.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say restaurant. We've done a lot of interviews with restaurants and people around town. The restaurant industry
What's
in general
yours?
right now is it's going through it.
Yeah.
Places
Yeah.
are closing, but I mean it has a lot to do with the season and also the margins. It's a hard game. Yeah, I think it's on the same level as art these days
Yeah.
when it's a hard game. It
Yeah.
used to be a bit more romanticized, but it's not easy to own a place. But I think Cafe Mamo, they are one of my favorites
Yeah.
when it comes to like if I'm looking for not just an elevated experience, but like, I mean, I really like Frisian these days. I feel like they do a really good job when it comes to their food.
I haven't been there.
Yeah, I'm a little biased. My sister's the bartender there.
Okay.
I've known
I'll have to
Craig
check it out.
forever. He used to be a bartender down at Rockies, which was an old stomping ground for me. But then also Zan and Phil, they've done a good job with that place. Mamo, Frisian. Oh, we always got to talk about KCM. KCM
yes,
is one of
if
the
we're
best
talking
spots
about
in town.
lunch
Yeah.
spots, it's like KCM, Black Napkin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Oh yeah, Asada, dude.
Yeah.
Asada. Right. Well, so Steven at Asada, they used to be called Basalt, but they've now got a new name called
Okay,
Asada,
I haven't
and like
been since Basalt
that's my
changed over.
weekend spot. Like
Okay.
if I want some breakfast food, especially they're actually going to be open every day now, which is really cool. But
Yes.
if you've not been to Asada, you got to go.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
really good.
Also, pop-ups are a thing now.
Yeah.
Cuckoo Bakehouse does a really great pop-up if you're into pastries. They also do savory, like focaccias, but they go out of the, it used to be Marika Treves. It's like right next door to that.
Dude,
Forget
there's a
what it is,
line
some
out that
kitchen
door
place.
all the time.
That's the Cuckoo Bakehouse pop-ups.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There it is.
All right, piece of advice you always come back to for yourself that you've been given.
Believe in yourself. I think as a designer, it's easy to think you're a poser a lot of the times and that the work might not be good enough. But I think just coming back and saying your work is valuable and good, and believe in yourself that you are also creating beautiful things.
I think that's lovely advice. I think the imposter syndrome in most creatives that I know is like the most right below the surface thing when they're making stuff. But I do believe like security in your own self really does help create beautiful work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. One word to describe the future of public art.
Ooh, it is currently unknown because
Unknown. I love that.
that's not the right word I'm
Mysterious.
looking for, but my brain is currently a little bit mush. It's a kind of a scary world out there right now for public art and funding, because I don't know if you've heard, like Michigan might be cutting all of our MACC funding, and ArtPrize gets a lot of that. And I think that's a scary place that we could come to, is if public art is no longer accessible to everyone and we're not getting all those artists' perspectives and narratives and voices out there. I mean, that's what brings us together, I think, as communities. And right over here that you can't see is like a beautiful mural that depicts our entire community, and that was through a grant that might no longer be possible. So the future of public art, I hope we get the Banksies and the people that are just continuously doing their things and going out there and producing it. And I hope people continue to give to the arts. So
I couldn't agree more. So what she's saying is you need to fund the arts. This is still
Fund
part
the
of
arts.
it. Fund the arts. I just recently, this past summer, was in Berlin and Copenhagen, and it was so obvious that they care about public art. It was evident everywhere. And it literally changed my perspective on how to view the United States. Not everything is meant to be privatized. Some things really need public funding from tax dollars. It is worth it for everyone's experience, and I couldn't agree more.
definitely.
Yeah. All right. On a large scale, why does art matter? Why is it essential? And how can art change the world?
Art matters because it is inclusive to all. You don't need a ticket to get into it. You don't need to be a certain economic status or background. Everyone should be able to participate and see art. I think it provides civic engagement and critical discourse. It unifies us. I mean, sometimes divides us. But art is telling our stories. It's telling the narratives of everybody and all of our voices. And we need more artists. We need more creativity. It makes the world go around. And it creates this beautiful mosaic of who we are as human beings. So make art and do cool shit.
Okay. How can people find you? So, like, what's the best spot if they want to get a hold of you, reach out to collaborate with you, work with you? How should they get a hold of you?
So I have a website, amydaydesign.com. Hi at Amy Day Design. And that's probably the best way. I'm not the best at upkeeping my own personal work and website, but I'm trying to get better at that.
Cool.
Because when I have a moment of freedom, I get outside. I want to be off my computer. I want to be getting outside. So sometimes doing my own personal work takes a backseat.
Mm-hmm.
So
that makes sense.
I'll try to get better at that if you do want to reach out to me.
Awesome. And also, if you want to get a hold of her, you can reach out to us because we can also get a hold of her too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right.